What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to look at a new Transformers TCG card. The lovely folks over at the Transformers TCG, well, basically everywhere, on Twitter and Facebook and all of that, they've gone and shown us a lovely new card. It's called Crystal of Power, and the art might look a little bit familiar. It is, of course, the art that was used as the teaser image when we were initially told about Wave 5 coming in April. How lovely is that? What does it do? Well, it's an upgrade that is very unique and very weird and kind of awesome. It's got a black icon, so if you flip it while attacking, you get +1 pierce until the end of your turn, not just the attack. The example I often give is that if you use something like Blur as an example, you can potentially attack twice in the same turn, and you would get the pierce for both the attacks. So that's alright. But it is an upgrade weapon armor, and it occupies a weapon slot and an armor slot. But it does give you +3 attack and +2 defense. Yeah, that's kind of phenomenal. That's kind of ridiculous. +3 attack is great. +2 defense is great. The thing is, it does get scrapped after the battle, which is a little bit awkward. Now, the lovely Landon Dastrup, him of TCG Rollout, he went and asked a question to the lovely folks at the Transformers TCG on Twitter, asking if they are basically affected by things that affect weapons or armor. So something like Bashing Shield, for instance, a very widely played card. It's got a green icon, so it's quite easy to find, because green icon, after you flip the card while battling, you may swap a card in your hand for the Bashing Shield that you flipped over, but it scraps an enemy armor. Well, this is a weapon armor, but it counts as both a weapon and an armor, so Bashing Shield would get rid of it, and that is a little bit sad. Now, of course, the fact that it does get scrapped after an attack is awkward, or after a battle, whether you attack or defend. But then again, it's not all bad, because of course you've got stuff like Backup Bag, and Backup Bag will save it. Backup Bag says that if you would have a weapon or armor scrapped from the upgraded character, you can scrap this instead, and it does have a green icon, so you can save it quite nicely in the same way you could for the aforementioned Crystal of Power. So that is quite nice. But the question we really need to ask ourselves is +3 attack good enough? Is +2 defense good enough? Because the problem is you never get both. It's one or the other here. If this just gave you +3 attack, +2 defense as a star card, I would love it a lot more. And when I first saw it, my eyes were drawn to the +3 attack, +2 defense, and I went, oh my goodness, that has to be a star card. Well, it doesn't have to be a star card, because it falls off when you battle, and that's a little bit of a shame. Now, the +3 attack is good. Make no mistake about it, +3 attack is good. But +3 attack is hardly unheard of. And the problem is that there are plenty of cards that can give you +3 attack that don't fall off at the end of your turn. Now, I mean, one of the gold standard cards here is Energon Axe. Now, to be fair, Energon Axe can only be put onto damaged characters, but it gives you PS2 as well as +3 attack. And it's got a blue icon. You lose the black icon, but it doesn't matter, because Energon Axe just naturally gives you PS2 anyway, so you don't really need the black icon so much because you're doing that. I mean, we do have Static Laser of Ironhide that does give you +3 attack. It's got the orange icon, which is lovely, but it really is more of an Ironhide kind of thing, because if you're not Ironhide and you attack, you have to take 2 damage. But of course, when we look at falling off at the end of your turn, we can do better. So Grenade Launcher, for argument's sake, gives you +4 attack, and after the upgraded character attacks, you scrap this card. So if you want a big one-swing attack, you've got Grenade Launcher, which also has an orange icon, which in an aggressive deck, you might want a little bit more. And then, of course, we've got the +2 defense, and +2 defense is all right. I mean, if we compare it to something like Bashing Shield, you're getting an extra 1 defense. But Bashing Shield also scraps an enemy armor when you attach it. You could put something like Energized Field, but if you defend and then flip an orange icon, you do 1 damage to the attacker and you got the double blue. Although, to be fair, Energized Field is a star card, so maybe not, maybe not the fairest comparison. Of course, back in Wave 1, we just had Blast Shield. And Blast Shield gives you +2 defense and falls off at the end of your turn. Or when you defend. Not at the end of your turn, it falls off when you defend. Which basically makes it this, but with a blue icon. And definitely getting the defense. And I suppose my biggest issue here is that you're probably going to know what's going to happen. Like, if you're going to be attacking, you know you're going to be attacking with that character, so you're just getting a weaker version of Grenade Launcher. And sometimes you'll know you're going to be defending. If, for instance, you are the only valid target of your opponent, then you know that that character has to defend because you're the only valid target. Other times you may be able to predict because, although there are multiple valid targets, you know that this is the character your opponent's going to go after. But it just makes it into Blast Shield. And Blast Shield hasn't been seeing a huge amount of play in all the best defensive decks. It's fine as a card, but it's not phenomenal. And Grenade Launcher has seen a fair amount of play, but +4 is a lot better than +3. I mean, 1 extra damage. I mean, look, we've all played a bunch of games, I assume. We've all had many, many instances where we get an exact KO. Where we do just enough damage to get a KO on the defending Transformer. And if you take 1 attack away, all of a sudden you've gone from, yay, I exactly got a KO, to, gosh darn it, I was 1 damage short of getting a KO. The saving grace of this is that you do have the mid-game option. So if I'm only playing Grenade Launcher, I cannot get the defense. If I'm only playing Blast Shield, I cannot get the attack. If I'm playing Crystal of Power, I do have the opportunity to decide in the middle of the game whether I want the extra attack or whether I want the extra defense. The problem is it's a black icon card. Now, for some decks, that's going to be lovely. You're going to want the Pierce. But a lot of decks out there want orange and blue icons to get extra attack or extra defense. And by having a black icon on here, you are essentially giving up either an orange icon card to give you extra attack, or a blue icon card to give you extra defense. So you've got fewer icons in your deck to increase your attack or defense, to play a card that increases your attack or defense. And I'm not sure how much I love this. Because the problem is, if I'm playing an attacking deck, I'd rather just play Grenade Launcher. If I'm playing a defensive deck, I'd rather play Blast Shield, though not that many defensive decks are playing Blast Shield. If I'm playing a hybrid attacking deck and I want a little bit of Pierce, yes. But how often is that going to be the case? How often are you going to have a partly orange, partly blue deck where you do want a little bit of Pierce? And a lot of times, if you're playing the odd 1 or 2 Pierce, you don't really need it because you're doing 1 or 2 damage anyway. And you end up with this weird in-between card that does lots of stuff and looks really exciting on the face of it. And then I start digging into exactly what I want to do with this and the uses I've got for it. And I honestly don't know what I'm playing this in. I'd prefer it most of the time with a white icon, because then at least I'm flipping 2 more battle cards if I flip it while attacking or defending, so then it helps in every deck. But I'm not loving the black pip, and I don't think it's a phenomenal extra attacking card. I don't think it's a phenomenal extra defending card, and if it didn't get scrapped, so it helped me attacking, then it helped me defending, I would adore it. But it does get scrapped. So it either helps me attacking and then goes away, or it helps me defending and then goes away. Neither of which I'm loving. The one thing I will say is, if you are playing a piercing deck and you want more black icons, And most piercing decks tend to go a bit more defensive, so you do want a little bit of defense and a little bit of pierce, and this can help you to add your attack. Always a worry that if you put too many black icons in a deck, your pierce will go higher than your attack. And remember, if you've got a pierce of 4, attack of 3, you only do 3 damage. So maybe in a deck that's revolving around black icons, where you can get a little bit of extra attack, yeah, okay, I'm alright with that. But I see this as an exceptionally strange card that looks like it does everything and helps out every deck, but in fact is going to end up as an incredibly niche card that really doesn't help that many decks. Now, if this stayed on and was a star card, especially with a white icon, we'd be having a very, very different conversation. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think about this. I'd like to know what uses you've got for this. I'd like to know what decks you're thinking of putting it in. So go nuts in the comment section. But please remember the rule, would ya? Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Transformers and a whole bunch of other games. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all that good stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.